Joining us now is Patrick Haan, head of Petroleum Analysis at GasBuddy. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
I think a lot of people have questions here as to why we're seeing these prices spike, why they're spiking here in California. The national average up more than 80 cents in just a month. Can you explain why the Strait of Hormuz has such an impact here, despite about 65 to 70% of oil used in the U.S. being domestic?
Yeah, first of all, the Strait of Hormuz is probably the most vital waterway on the planet when it comes to oil shipments. 20 million barrels, or a fifth of the world's total oil supply, goes through the strait on a daily basis. And now, because we've seen attacks already happening on vessels in the strait, all those vessels are basically now parked, anchored, waiting for some improvement. And every day that goes on, we lose out on 20 million barrels of oil that would be flowing through there to countries like China and India. Now, as you mentioned, a lot of that does not end up in the United States. It goes to areas like Asia. But for the same reason that housing market values don't go up just on one street or in one neighborhood, but generally in an entire area, is the same reason that we are also subject, I should say, to the prevailing price of this global commodity. Home prices go up in larger areas across the U.S. and across the world, and oil prices not too dissimilar in that higher oil prices are impacted everywhere, not just in the United States, regardless of where that oil may come from.
Now, here in California, we know gas costs about $1.50 more than the national average. So can you break down why it's so much more costly here in the Golden State?
California has a lot of regulatory environments that kind of push the price up. We have the cap and trade program in California, essentially refineries having to buy credits to produce gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. As you mentioned, you have the high gasoline tax. There are other programs as well in California. The CARB, the Air Resources Board, mandates a specific blend of gasoline just for California's consumption. And now also this year, of course, there's been a lot of coverage on refineries that are permanently shutting down, given these guardrails and how they've limited California refineries to operating their business. Another refinery, the Valero refinery in Benicia, just shutting down within the last few weeks. So a loss of refining capacity is probably one of the biggest issues, along with what we're experiencing globally. And that is putting California on the roadmap. Now, Washington State implemented a cap and invest program just a couple of years ago. Now they are also seeing very similar prices to California as a result of that. Those programs do trickle down to the end consumer and are very costly.
Okay, well, another place people are probably going to be paying more. Airlines warning about raising fare prices as the cost of jet fuel, it looks like, has nearly doubled. Why is that market being hit harder than most at this point?
Well, a lot of it is a portion of the barrel of oil. Right now, gasoline, to your point, it's going up significantly, but it's being dwarfed by a huge jump in the price of diesel and, as you mentioned, jet fuel. Those products, diesel and jet fuel, are what we call distillates. They come from a middle of the barrel crude oil, a little bit heavier than gasoline. And right now, refineries that produce a lot of that, especially in the Middle East, have been targeted by drone attacks. Not only that, but a lot of the countries that produce heavy oil that yield more products like diesel and jet fuel are countries that the U.S. is not buying actively from. Countries like Russia that have been heavily sanctioned, Iran, which has been heavily sanctioned. And so simply a limit of our ability to supply enough of that middle distillate product. In addition, heating oil is also very similar to diesel, and it's been a very cold winter, especially back in mid-January, when much of the country east of the Rockies was encountering some of the lowest temperatures we've seen in quite a few years.
I want to ask you a question that I've seen so many people asking in California. With the way prices are going right now, should we be filling up more regularly, like when we get to a half tank, or wait till it's empty? What ends up being more price effective?
Yeah, well, a lot of that extra weight, you're using gasoline to basically run around with a full tank. So the extra weight does reduce your fuel efficiency slightly. Airlines have known this for years, and they don't fill their tanks specifically because they know that all that extra weight does add up. So it's hard to give you great advice given how volatile the situation is. I know prices have actively been climbing. I think my best advice, shop around apps like GasBuddy, Google Maps, and Waze. And maybe when you get to a half a tank, start looking at what prices are around you and maybe prepare and set aside a little bit more money, knowing the situation in the Middle East, as long as it continues, could continue to put upward pressure on gas prices.
I'm also a Costco member. We did a little math this morning, and it looks like it's about 60 cents cheaper at some of the Costco's here in Los Angeles. So might want to look at that
membership.
That
can pay off as well.
Yeah, there you go. All right, thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.